Baby ducks know how to swim. A 19-year-old girl tells us, at that time I was a little girl. My innocent eyes watched those evening get-togethers when family friends would meet in the house. What I remember is that I could only see one man, who was my father. I watched him as he moved about the room, how his glances would devour the women present, looking at their thighs and chests, admiring this one's eyes, that one's hair, the other's hips. My poor mother had no choice but to take care of these get-togethers. She was a very simple lady. Among the women present, there was one woman who would deliberately try to attract my father's attention, sometimes by coming close to him, and sometimes by making enticing movements. I would watch this with concern, whilst my mother was busy in the kitchen for the sake of her guests. These gatherings stopped suddenly, and I tried, young as I was, to understand and make sense of what had happened, but I could not. What I remember was that my mother collapsed completely at that time, and she could not stand to hear my father's name mentioned in the house. I used to hear mysterious words whispered by the adults around me: betrayal, bedroom. She saw them with her own eyes. Despicable woman in a very shameful position. These were the key words which only the adults could understand. I grew up and came to understand, and I bore a grudge against all men. Look how this child, brothers and sisters, has become psychologically affected, mentally disturbed. And she begins to see all men the same way because of an experience with the father. You are her role model as a father, right? It is you that she looks up to. It is you that she looks up to and takes as the ideal father, the ideal husband, the ideal man. And you know, children, brothers, they learn with their eyes and not necessarily so much with their ears. Do you guys agree with that? What they see is what they try to implement. My little daughter, 𝗕𝗯𝘆𝗵, may Allah Azza wa Jalla, she's 1 year and 2 months. She sees her dad wearing this hat. It's a man's hat, sah. She sometimes picks it up and she puts it on. And then she goes running to the mirror. We say to her, Most recently, because she would see people in the house praying. And what happens when you pray? If you're in the silent prayer, you say, now when we say Allahu Akbar, she goes down into sujood. She's 1 year and 2 months. May Allah Azza wa Jalla protect her. Allahumma barik. I never taught her how to pray. She's 1 year and 2 months, brothers. Because she sees the people around her praying. Right? The hikmah behind praying your sunnah prayers at home is what? Because the Messenger said, أفضل صلاة المرء في بيته إلا المكتوبة. The most virtuous prayer that one can pray is in the house, other than the obligatory ones. So the people around you can get used to you praying and they normalize it. Right? So sometimes we say to her, Allahu Akbar, and then she goes down in sujood. And then she lies down, she does it. Because she sees her father, right, recite. She doesn't know what he's reciting, just imitating him. She sees the jilbab, she puts it on. And she looks in the mirror and she smiles. She says, Mom, where is it? They pick up like that. Right? So now this miskina, who from a very young age would witness her father behaving in this way, psychologically affected, and she begins to paint everybody with the same brush. And you're responsible for that. And of course, it's not right for her to say every man is like that, but you have a big role to play as to why she's now thinking like that, right? My mother was a broken woman and accused every woman who came to us of being a man snatcher, who wanted to make my father fall into a trap. My father hasn't changed. He is still practicing his favorite hobby of chasing women, but now he does it outside of the home. Now I'm 19 years old and I know lots of young men. I feel great pleasure in taking revenge on them, because every one of them is an exact copy of my father. I tempt them and entice them without letting them get anywhere near them. I'll say that again. I tempt them and entice them without letting them get anywhere near me. They follow me in gatherings and in marketplaces because of my movements and deliberate gestures. Sometimes my phone never stops ringing, and I feel proud of that. I feel proud of what I do to avenge sex of Hawa. That woman who done whatever she did with. And my mother, sometimes I feel so miserable and such a failure that it almost chokes me. My life is shadowed by a huge dark cloud, and its name is my father.